Hello and welcome. This is William with Turner Tunes. I am doing a review of the Monoprice 8250 bookshelf speaker. This has gotten quite a lot of buzz on the internet with a lot of positive reviews, and I'm going to give my opinion on them and let you make your own opinion. These are a clone of the Dayton Audio B5652. The main difference is these are ported, whereas the Daytons are sealed, but they both have the same driver and the same tweeter, and they both have the same box and the same spring-loaded clips, and they're pretty much clones except for the port. Now, I didn't like the way these sounded ported, and I did something a little unusual. I added stuffing behind the port to slow the airflow, and I thought that cleaned up the bass a little bit because I thought they sounded a little boomy completely ported. The woofer, I took these apart to see what was inside. The woofer runs full range, and for this speaker and this price range, I think that's okay. I think it works. The tweeter, however, just has a single capacitor that was the smallest capacitor I had ever seen on a speaker. And the tweeter, in my opinion, is a little shouty. It runs a little too hot, and it needs to be padded down a little bit. Now, the amps I have, I don't have bass and treble knobs and a loudness button. I just have digital amps and a preamp and a crown, so I wasn't really able to attempt to EQ them down a little bit, which would probably help. Or you could also use a computer equalizer to trim the tweeter down to improve the sound. The way they are, I found them to be a little fatiguing on the top end, and it's not something I would want to listen to long term. The only reason I got these in the first place was because I had a credit at Monoprice, and I just wanted to hear them. I wanted to see what all the hype was about, and they didn't really cost a whole lot. So, but I'm actually going to give them away to somebody who doesn't have any speakers. If that gives you any idea of what I feel about them, if I like them, I would keep them. So they have a keyhole on the back, which I don't understand why, because if you put this on the wall, you would cover up the port. So I wouldn't recommend using that. Overall, with the small modification that I made with the ports, I actually find the woofer to be okay, as well as the mid-range. My only real complaint is that I find the tweeter to be running too hot and a little ragged, and for me, quite fatiguing to listen to. I'm going to give these away to somebody who has an amp with a bass and a treble knob, and I'm going to see if I can improve them with just some adjustments. But if you get a small digital amp and you hook up a source, you might not like the way they sound. I hope they can continue to make improvements on them and correct some of the problems with them, because they could be pretty decent speakers for the price. I mean, they're really, really cheap. You can only get so much for so much money. But I thought some of the reviews out there were just too good, and I wanted to add a more realistic approach to them. They are not great speakers, and I would pass on them if you can afford something better. Pioneer has some good speakers now that aren't too affordable. Yamaha makes good speakers. There's a lot of good affordable speakers out there, and these undercut all of them in price, but you are sacrificing some quality there, and in my opinion, these are overhyped. They are not some magical, mystical solution to cheap audio. I used them in the garage for a while, and they were okay for that. They might work in a dorm room or a den or a secondary system, but I would completely pass on these for permanent full-time audio solutions because they just don't quite cut it. Thank you for your time, and I hope you enjoyed this review.